Gentlemen, welcome back. This will be the final video, I believe, for Algebra 2 Goal 4. We're going back to what we started with. The first video or live stream I did was about solving quadratic equations, and I was getting you used to factoring in the quadratic formula. Now we end off with solving quadratic equations again, only this time these are some of the special cases that we have talked about in other videos. So let's get down right to it. Up until now, for the entirety of all of eternity, I have always been asking, is it set to 0? Is it set to 0? Is it set to 0? And these topics are now the ones where you're actually not setting to 0, which is why they were weighted and so long into getting into them. We start first with getting you used to the idea of solving a quadratic equation using what is called the square root property, aka you're taking the square root of a number and then simplifying it. Oh my God, the shock, the shock. It's almost like that's what my last couple of videos were about. So we're going to start off almost immediately with a trick question, because I have asked about this in another video. What number times itself will ever give you a negative number? Doesn't happen. So there is a little button in the software that lets you know impossible, or not impossible, that's nice, Mr. Dubois. Not possible is a thing. All right, but that's just the rare occasion, I assume. What if you have an actual number? So let's say you have x squared equals 20. All right, so let's see here. 25 is too big. What are my perfect squares underneath 25? We have 16, no. We have 9, no. We have 4, yes. When I take the square root of this, the squares cancel out over here and I'm left with an x equals, but now I got to figure out what this is. That is 4, which is what I was looking for, times, 4 times what is 20? 5. All right, and what is root 4? 2? Root 5. But this links into other topics because this actually gives you two answers. Because remember, it's not just 2 times 2 that gets us 4. It's also negative 2 times negative 2 that gets us 4. So in fact, our answer is going to be plus or minus 2 root 5. And that's going to be our answer. Scroll down a little bit. So now we have x squared equals 45. Again, we're going to take the square root. We're going to take the square root. 45, let's see here. 7 squared is 49. That's too big. 36, no. 25, no. 16, no. 9, yes. 45 is 9 times 5. And for those of you who maybe are coming out of my videos out of order, there's another video that explains how I'm using all of these numbers over here to figure out the easiest way to simplify this number over here. So x equals root 9, root 5. What is root 9? X is going to equal plus or minus 3 root 5. Voila. And you start to realize that actually this isn't so bad so far. And what do we have here? We have x squared equals negative 24. And oh, no. I see you, negative sign, trying to trick me. I won't let you. This is another one that is not possible. All right, but what happens if it's not one simple number that the x squared is equal to? What if they give you something like this unholy looking mess? Except it's not actually that unholy, because what's happening is we're starting to build ourselves up to doing something really kind of cool. But again, the traditional question for almost 90% of this chapter has been, is it set to 0? And this is the first instance where you're actually not going to answer that. Because here's the thing. You have this, quantity squared already here with all of the bells and the stars and the whistles that it makes you kind of fall in love with it. Which means it's the 49 here that's the intruder. You don't want it. You want to isolate it. You need to quarantine it over on the other side of the equal sign. So you have y plus 3 quantity squared minus 49 equals 0. That's the intruder, so plus 49 plus 49. Y plus 3 quantity squared equals 49. And now we're in the same setup as we were over here. Because what we're going to do is we're going to square root it and square root it. And here's the really cool part. Squares and square roots, we talked about it over here. They undo each other. They undo each other. you're left with y plus 3 equals plus or minus 7. How amazing is that? In just 2 steps, we have suddenly made this into a one-step equation, which is kind of cool. So now we have minus 3 and then minus 3. So what are our numbers? 7 minus 3 is 4. Negative 7 minus 3 is negative 10. And those are our two possibilities. Okay, not so bad. What about this next one? W minus 4 quantity squared minus 64 equals 0. So plus 64 plus 64. Let's see here. W minus 4 quantity squared equals 64. Now these are all perfect squares, so we can root this and then root this. So W minus 4 equals plus or minus 8. Okay, so far so good. Plus 4 plus 4. So W equals 8 plus 4 is 12. Negative 8 plus 4 is negative 4. And there are our answers. All right, do we have one more? Why, yes we do. Just keep scrolling, just keep scrolling. All right, so v plus 5 quantity squared minus 8 equals 0. Now I already see right here the world isn't perfectly nice to me because I know that that's not a perfect square the way the 64 and then earlier the 49 are. And all of a sudden I can hear my brain screeching to a halt saying, wait, but wait, but wait. So let's see what happens as we start going through this. V plus 5 quantity squared equals 8. So what have we been doing the entire time? We take the square root, we take the square root. All right, so what is root 8? Let's see, let's pretend I don't know that off the top of my head like I actually do. 8 happens to be 4 times 2. Well, what's root 4? 4 is 2 plus or minus root 2. So what this means then is once I've taken the square root of all of this, v plus 5 equals plus or minus 2 root 2. And I'll be honest, when I was doing my screen grabs, it was hard to find one, but this is about 60 to 70% of your answers, where they don't divide evenly because they're trying to get you used to this. So minus 5, minus 5. And now keep a note, this doesn't have a root 2 here in order for us to combine over here. So what ends up happening is our answer is going to be negative 5 plus or minus 2 root 2. That's what most of your answers are going to look like in the software. I gave you the easier ones first just to make you comfortable with it. So far so good. I blinked in the span of what are we at now? 5 minutes and we already have 2 topics done. Let's do another one. Now this one, by completing the square example, no, wait, come back. There we go. This one is the most nuanced looking one of the bunch yet. But again, because they're looking to get us into a particular form, what they're doing is they're forcing us to make it look like this. And then once we make it look like this, then we can actually solve it. So scrolling back down, not that far, Mr. Bar. All right, what do we have? We have x squared minus 6x minus 6 equals 0. Is it set to 0? Oh, wait, that's not for these topics. So plus 6 plus 6. Okay, x squared minus 6x equals 6. Now I'm being a little coy here because if you'll notice, I've deliberately left a blank because there needs to be a number that goes there. This comes from an earlier topic that we did in the prior video, completing the square. So if you don't remember it, that's okay. We'll give you a quick refresher. We're going to take that negative 6 and we're going to divide by 2. Negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. Once we have that answer, we're just going to do a quick squaring, and that is a 9. So what we're doing then, if that's the 9 that I just want to go put right there, what I do to one side of the equation, shock of all shocks, we do to the other. So plus 9 plus 9. What does that leave us with? That is x squared minus 6x plus 9 equals 6 plus 9 is 15. Now we're all set. What we've done now, because you can see a lot of topics are starting to come in together, this is our perfect square trinomial, our perfect square trinomial. And since it's a perfect square trinomial, I know automatically what the answer for this is going to be. It will be x minus 3. The minus comes from the middle term. The 9 comes from the root that we're trying to do. So that's going to be this term right here, x minus 3 equals 15. That's going to be our answer. And now for the solution, we just got to go through the effort of finishing solving it, which we just did up in that topic up there. So square root, x minus 3 equals plus or minus root 15, plus 3, x equals 3 plus or minus root 15. Now that sometimes goes by a little bit fast, so we're going to do one more to make sure that you're comfortable with this. So scroll to the side. Computer, come back. There we go. Okay, what are we left with? We have x squared minus 16x plus 62 equals 0. So minus 62, because this is one of the 3 topics where you don't actually set to 0, equals negative 62. Okay, let's go through our little rigmarole here. What is negative 16 divided by 2? That's negative 8, okay? What's negative 8 squared? That's 64. So I'm going to dump a 64 here, and I'm going to dump a 64 here. So we have our perfect square trinomial over here, which is x squared minus 16x plus 64. What is 64 minus 62? 2. Ah, okay. Easy. We can work with this. Now, set ourselves up, because we're going to square root this and then square root this. This leaves us with plus or minus root 2 over here. And since I'm factoring this to pieces, I'm going to have x and then minus and then 8. X minus 8 quantity squared. So this is what we're filling in. X minus 8 quantity squared equals 2. Oops, I squared a little too soon. You see what I just did there? I assume you take my meaning. Let's see here. Because it's over here that we're going to be doing the squaring. I got ahead of myself. Silly Ms. Dubois. Now the formats match, and now we can square root it, and we can square root it. Okay, now we're set. So that means x minus 8, since the squares and the square roots undo each other, equals plus or minus root 2 plus 8 plus 8. X equals 8 plus or minus root 2. All right. This topic, I know some students look at it and they work at it for a couple of tries before they can get the hang of it, but going through 2 different examples in very thorough detail, I hope this helps you. And that is now, I do believe, let me check, I do believe that this is the end of Algebra 2 Goal 4. I've done every other topic on this list. I've done a bunch of other topics. This is like video, I don't even know what, 8 or 9. But you now have everything you need to finish Algebra 2 Goal 4. Remember, quarter ends April 7th. You need to be 50% through Goal 4 after a knowledge check. As always, stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe. See you in the next one.